welcome to All Dial Views. Today we're going to take a look at the SoundPeats Air 5 Pro. Now, I apologize for getting my hand in the way or any sort of movement. I'm kind of not in my normal setup. I'm out on the road again. Yeah, and I had to get this out. I'm already a little late. But again, we're taking a look at the SoundPeats Air 5 Pro. I previously looked at the SoundPeats Pop Clip, the Air 4 Pro, and the Air 4 here. I still have all except for the Air 4 Pro. This is, what is it, $79.99. In the description, I will put a discount code and a link to the Amazon webpage. The discount code will be for 30% off. It is, I'll have it all below. I'm not going to spell it out here, but yeah, it'll be 30% off, so you'll get it, what, like $56, which right off the bat, it's a pretty reasonable price, especially with all the tariffs and stuff that are currently going. I do not have the box with me. Again, I kind of forgot about doing this, and I'm on the road, so I'm going to try to get this done. But you'll have the standard box that you've seen for something like the Pop Clip, the Air 4s, excuse me, the Air 4 Pros, and all that stuff. You'll get a small USB cable, one end USB-C. You see there, it charges USB-C. It's a charge case. You get the stated specs, I believe, are, I want to say, between 5 and 7 hours from the earbud charge, and then another 3 full charges from the case. So they're claiming, I think, anywhere from 28 to 36 hours listening. It's obviously Bluetooth. It has the VTLE audio, and it also has LDAC, so you can enable that stuff, and both of those you can enable within the Peats Audio app. And now that they've updated the app some, I do think it's probably a better replacement than the old SoundPeats app. I've had no issues with it. Seems to be working fine. These have noise canceling. I mean, basically the typical stuff you'd see in a pair of Bluetooth IMs. In a, what is it, transparent mode, active noise canceling, a game mode to get the latency down. Basically all the basic stuff. There is one interesting thing I did see in the app though. It has a fit test in there, which actually works pretty well. It'll play a low frequency signal, and basically if you're getting good sound pressure, you're kind of feeling it, and you're hearing good bass evenly between both sides, you know, you have a good seal and you don't need to change tips or anything, and it will sound off if you do need to change tips. So I mean, generally I think people would be able to feel it, but it seems like that's not always the case, so I think it's a good option. And back to the box though, yeah, you get that the USB-C cable for charging. It's a very short one though. I don't even think it's a foot long from memory. I want to say it's like one of those like short 6-inch ones. You get that. You get 3 pairs of tips. I had the largest pair on here, and in my opinion, the largest is kind of closer to a medium. And you see, this is the case for it. It's a rather chunky case in my opinion. This is the case from the Air 4, and it's very similar to what the case of the Air 4 Pro looked like. And as you can see, it is a little taller, but with it being thinner like this, it fits the pocket better. Like there. It's a noticeable difference, especially in the pocket. This is way more noticeable in the pocket than this one. I kind of wish they'd go back to the old style case. Well, they're both, like, God, if you have any sort of grease on your fingers, you're going to see it on these cases. Kind of like that with all of them. seem to be built pretty well. I tend to drop everything. I haven't had any issues with these. With the case, it's not showing any bad marks, but then again, I have not dropped it on concrete, which I imagine will be a problem. Alright. Ooh, I actually forgot to do something. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. If I can get these open. And unlike with the Air 4 Pros, they would just slide in like that. I guess some people had problem pulling them out. I never did. Same with, these are the Air 4s. I haven't had that problem with whether it's these or the Air 4 Pros. But like, it's kind of more accessible now. You can easily go in and grab them. And these are the tips. These are the large tips. You get 2 pair smaller than this. You get the medium and small. They're both very small. These were just enough to fit me right. Now, one of the biggest changes in the 5 Pro compared to, I want to say, even the 5 Lite and all the ones prior, and I do believe the 5 Lite used 13mm drivers, whereas these 5 Pros use a 10mm driver. And even after all this time listening to them, I'm still somewhat conflicted, because normally cases like this, I look at it as someone's going to be wearing these when they're out and about getting stuff done, exercising or whatever, and it's less for critical music. And I like the way the 13mm driver sound. They gave the audio kind of a big, it gave it a big sound, powerful bass. I thought it was competent as far as technicalities. And for the Air 5 Pro, they kind of traded some of that for actual technicalities. You lose some of the size of the sound, if that makes any sense. The bass doesn't quite have like the punch it used to, but everything is kind of, it's just more, it seems more technical. It's more evenly balanced overall. I'll get back into that in a second. But here's the IEM. Nothing really special. I would still like to see the stem kind of a little thinner, if I'm being honest, although it's not any bigger than stuff they used before. Like, here's the 4. Yeah, see, so it's basically about the same. Not much different in that regard. So that is one area I'd like to see them kind of focus on, is maybe getting the size of that stem down a little bit. But then again, we are talking about a budget IM, because I imagine the discount will be something that comes back often. So $80 MSRP, but kind of like a $56 price is what you will most likely be getting these for, or at least close to that, which puts it in the budget range in my opinion. But anyway, so you kind of have this, like, this chrome outside, rest is black. It's all plastic. Everything here is plastic. It's not bad looking. I guess it's an acquired taste. Like, personally, I do kind of wish they would have, I don't know, maybe done something like that, or even less than that. Just give us like almost like a straight matte type black, and maybe just put an S on it, just the S, no full emblem type thing here, just an embossed S or something, and have it inlaid with the gold or whatever it is they like to use. But just something small. It doesn't need to be all this big. These do not have like slide controls. It is a tap control, so you can tap it once, hold it, and it'll shut that earbud off. You can do it with the other side to shut the other one off. Tap twice, or just a quick tap to change, like one quick tap on one side will turn the volume up, quick tap on the other side, turn the volume down, 2 taps, skip tracks. Your basic typical controls. Yeah, noise canceling. Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll get back into sound towards the end if I don't get scattered any more than I already am. But this has noise canceling, and it has two modes. It has an indoor and an outdoor mode. And indoor mode just seems kind of like it's not as strong as the outdoor mode. I can't tell if it's isolating certain frequencies more than the outdoor mode, but it just seems like overall it's not as strong. I guess the only kind of like isolated frequencies I do notice is like with voices, like in indoor mode, I do tend to hear people speaking easier than when I have outdoor mode enabled. I don't use indoor mode though, because whenever I need to use noise canceling, I kind of want as much as possible. And the outdoor mode works really good. Like I can walk down the roads and stuff, and with it turned on, you almost like it's almost dangerous to a sense, because I really can't hear a car until it's like basically besides me, and even then, it's not that loud. It kind of really does a good job making everything very quiet to the point you really don't hear it, especially if you're playing music. So kind of in the budget category, I do think it has very good noise canceling. Certainly, I see it's unfortunate I have to go by memory, because the Air 4 Pros also were in-ear like these, unlike these Air 4s. These Air 4s are not in-ear, but they do have, at least in the app, noise canceling, and it doesn't work because they're open. Sound's going to get in anyway. But with these, it is a noticeable improvement, at least over memory, off my memory. It's a noticeable improvement off of what I got from the 4 Pros. And I thought the 4 Pros were still good at the budget option. What else? This has transparent mode, which I find comes in very handy. It's a mode I use a lot. Now, this is interesting because I can't remember if the older 4 Pros did this, but if you're using transparent mode, the background sound and people talking and stuff, you can easily hear it. But if you adjust the volume, like if you're also playing music and you adjust the volume, it doesn't change the volume of the background noises it's letting in. It only changes the volume of the music. So you can turn the background or turn the music all the way down, and the background noise and people talking will still be at the same level. You can turn the music all the way up and you'll barely hear people talking or any background sounds. And I kind of like it like that. And I know I had pairs that didn't do that would change the volume of everything. For some reason, I have a vague memory that it was the Air 4 Pros that did that, but I could very well be wrong, so don't hold me to that one. Now, unfortunately, with noise canceling and transparent mode, the battery life goes way down. Like it's quick. The battery life is used up very quick with those modes turned on. I go from kind of averaging around 5 hours per charge of listening to music down to like 3, 4 at most. So you kind of it can't be something you just leave on all the time unless you only intend to use these things kind of sporadically, like 30 minutes, an hour at a time or whatever. Because if you're going for a long session, you're gonna find these things dying on you pretty quick with those modes turned on. Neither of them like negatively impact the audio, which is again something that impressed me with the Air 4 Pros, and it continues to impress me here for the simple fact that, again, $56 with everything at the price of everything else going up so much. It's impressive to me that they were still able to keep those those things as good as they are, while struggling with more fees now than when they released the 4 Pro. Like initially I thought these were going to be kind of a cheaper version of the 4 Pro, and then when I seen it had a 10mm driver compared to the 13mm driver, I really expected kind of a downgrade, at the very least a side grade. But after like kind of some extended use with it, I do find these really to be a more refined pair. Like, I'm trying to think back to the Air 4 Pros, and I like the way they sound. I thought they were technically good, especially for the price. Like, it was a competent 13mm driver. And this 10mm kind of loses some of the stuff. Like, again, like I mentioned earlier, the sound just feels smaller. Not to a terrible degree, just what you'd expect from something that uses a typical 10mm driver. So it's only in comparison to the other stuff and the Air 4 Pros that use the 13mm driver. But the things do just, it sounds, I don't know how else to explain it besides that. It's, things just kind of have a smaller presentation, but the separation is, it's almost a tier better. And I'm not trying to make it sound something amazing, because it's still not. Like, it's the same price in a regular IEM. You can easily replicate that type of separation. The sound stage is better on these than the 13mm ones. They just seem, it's the tuning that is kind of the main difference for me. Like, these kind of are more just, like, they seem to be going for almost a flat type tuning. Like, there's some crispness and, I don't want to say thinness, but compared to the older 4 Pro and these other models, there's almost a thinness in the vocals. The treble has a little more spark and crispness, more airy, and the bass is more kind of snappy. It's just, it's missing a lot of the warmth these other ones have, and the 4 Pro. Again, it's more of a balanced type tuning. And everybody that I've let try these, at least people that aren't big into IEMs, don't collect stuff, nobody you would consider an audiophile, they all thought these were noticeably better. They just kept talking about how they found them more detailed. And like, certainly at first glance they do seem more detailed. But I think it's more or less the tuning rather than like maybe a better driver. The only thing that makes me question that again is kind of the separation, because the separation of the instruments and layering is excuse me, is a whole tier better than the stuff I reviewed from them before. It's still, like, there's some other stuff, like the JBL has some very good budget Bluetooth IEMs. So I'm not going to sit here and, oh, these are the best at the price and all that stuff, but they're very competent. Like, they're really enjoyable. The separation's good. They have great features. I don't know if I mentioned, I think I did, these have the LE Audio LDAC. I don't notice any sort of sound quality difference with LE Audio, and when I turn that on, I don't get any better battery life. So if it is giving me better battery life, it's not by much. LDAC, and I was kind of surprised because I didn't expect kind of to be able to notice that much of a difference, but these were capable of showing the difference when playing music, especially FLAC files and stuff, between LDAC and just the standard codec, I guess, what is it, the SBC or whatever it is they use. So that was nice, but again, when you turn on LDAC and you're kind of in that 3.5 hour range for music, Yeah, what else? For the most part, that's it. I guess I can just go over again, try to go in a little better detail about what I think of the frequency response. Again, compared to the other stuff, it's certainly a more balanced tuning. The bass, I kind of think for most people, at least people that would be watching these videos, I kind of think the bass is at a better level now than it was before. Like, I could certainly see some people thinking it was too woolly, like with these. When you got them fit right, they do get a nice warm sound, but this, like, it's just a more punchy, textured bass. Vocals are a little thinner than all the other models, but they, like, there is more detail in the vocals, at least that you can hear. But I think with the other models, it's less of a technical issue and just more that the bass was, more of how the bass was tuned and it was bleeding into the mids, which doesn't happen anymore. And again, there's no peakiness, like there's not a hit, a sibilance. Like there's nothing offensive at all. Like they really do seem like just almost to a fault flatly tuned. Like there's nothing here to give a whole lot of energy to anything. Just a crisp, mostly clean presentation, and it's a very respectable tuning. I can't see anybody listening to them and faulting them, and I've yet to hear anybody listen to them and kind of pick out an issue. My only complaint again comes down to the I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it would be the shortcomings of the resolution, like compared to things like the T10, T10 Pros, anything planar, almost any IM especially that's come out recently, kind of in that $50 range, $100 range. Like you're gonna find a lot of those technically better than this, but it's more like a good $30 IM as far as technicalities, but with a good range of Bluetooth features. So I do think there's value here. I think it's worth the price they're asking. I would certainly recommend these to somebody who doesn't want to put in the money for something for any of the ones in the $100, $200 price range. Like I do think these have a place. Like I would actually recommend them, especially at the $56 price. Like if you can get them for that, there's not much that give you everything these do. There's certainly others that can compete sound wise, but some of them I've seen in the price range just have these awkward shaped stems. They look like they just kind of look cheap, whereas these kind of look nice, and everything's nice and smooth. They're very comfortable to wear. The case is relatively nice. Again, I like the case. It's fine, durable, all black, great. But this one I like better. This one works with the pocket better. It even fits in that little pocket. Like I would like to see that better. But other IMs, Bluetooth IMs, I see in that $50 price range kind of fail at a lot of those things. Some might sound good, but they might give up their build quality to do it, while others will look really nice and sound really bad. So these kind of, that $56 range, I think they're a great bargain, a great buy. Now when you're in that $80 range, and like there is some other options out there that I think can compete with these. So we'll see how the price goes. I mean, they do tend to always, like SoundPeats stuff always tends to have some sort of coupon or some sort of sale going. Yeah, overall very good. Now, before I go, there is something I do want to discuss, and it's about battery life. Like I did mention it, like I get about 3 charges out of the case, I can get in just regular Bluetooth, listening to music, 5.5 hours, and then, like I said, I'll get 3 charges off of this. But for some reason, like when I first got these, before any firmware upgrade, both sides basically die at the exact same time. And then they pushed an update. I updated it, and now the left side dies, I don't know, a few, like maybe 10 minutes quicker. It dies a little quicker than the right side. And normally I would think nothing of it. Like, okay, yeah, that's normal, of course. I mean, they can't keep them perfectly balanced, and they're such tiny batteries. Understandable, right? But then, what was it? These Air 4s. I think these were the first ones I got. I mean, these are still working perfectly fine. They still have great battery life. I use these a lot still, because there's something I can just throw in the ear. I can still hear everything around me. If I lose them, no big deal. But these, same thing. Left side dies much quicker, although it's almost like I get longer battery life out of the 4s than I do here. It's weird though, because it's kind of depends on what I'm listening to. Like if I listen, to music, I feel like I get longer on here, not by much, like 10-15 minutes. But movies, I get longer here. But anyway, with this one, left side dies first. And on this one, it's kind of noticeable, though. It's like there's like almost a 20-minute difference, and it was like that almost the entirety of the time I've had it. And then I got the Air 4 Pros, which is the in-ear version of these, kind of similar to this, except they had 13mm driver. And same thing, I remember them working, being completely balanced until I did the firmware update, and then all of a sudden the left side started dying noticeably quicker than the right side, and eventually it was the left side that just flat out died altogether, which is why they're not up here. And then get the pop clips. I like these. I actually still use these a lot too. And they sound good, very fun, especially for movies and stuff, very enjoyable. I like these, and they're super cheap. Like, for the price, these are kind of one of my favorite deals. Like $30. They sound surprisingly good for something that just clips on the outside of your ear. Like, the longer I've had them, the more I use them, the more I've been enjoying them, the more benefits I found from that design. So I really like them, but with these, just like all the others, the left side dies first, even though it's not that bad, and these seem to last a long time with music and stuff. But 4 different IEMs, 4 different Bluetooth IEMs, and all 4, like, so it is a small sample size, but it's at least a sample of 4. And the left side, the left IEM dies first on all 4. 2 of them, that wasn't an issue until after the very first firmware update. It makes me wonder if there's something in the firmware that's causing this issue. It's not something serious, not something crazy. Like, again, there was a failure in the 4 Pros, but it's 25% out of this, so it's 1 out of 4. None of these failed. These, I've had these for a long time. They've been wet. They've been left in pockets, stepped on, dropped. These things had a rough life. They're still working great. So, and none of them has lost a substantial amount of their battery life over time. I just find it hard to believe that just by chance every one of these Bluetooth IEMs from SoundPeats just so happen to have the weaker battery on the left side. Something seems odd, so I would like them to look into that and see exactly why or what could be causing the left IEM to have a weaker battery or higher drain on that battery. Like, there seems to be something there. Again, it's not anything major in most of the cases. Alright, well, yeah, I kind of wish I could have done something a little better here and not hold the camera with one hand and try and do everything else with one hand. I wish I had like a better setup, but unfortunately I was not prepared for this, and I just need to get this done. Hopefully some of you guys watch this and are still watching now, because I am interested in doing a video about some of the behavior around those Cirrus Logic DACs, like the, what is it, the 43131 and the 431398 or whatever they are. I gotta have to look up the numbers. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. But there's something I want to discuss about those, because there was a period where people were just especially on certain forums, were hammering other people who didn't like them, or at least seemed to have found issues with those. And now that there seems to be kind of a known trait to the majority of those Cirrus Logic based DACs, all the people that used to claim Apple dongle is damn near indistinguishable from every other dongle, and these high, like all these super impressive numbers for these Cirrus Logic DACs mean that they're better than some desktop gear, and they're better than that, and you're lying if you swear you heard something. Now all of a sudden those same exact people are trying to call those Cirrus Logic based DACs low tier, telling people to stay away from them, basically saying the opposite of what they were saying before. Like it's I don't know, it's baffling to me, and it's a kind of a topic I'd like to ramble on in a whole separate video. I might end up having to do that here, because I'm going to be out here for a couple more weeks, and given this setup, it's not quite ideal to look at any other IMs, and I don't really have any other IMs to look at out here anyway at the moment. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry for this whole this whole setup. Hopefully I didn't get too off track and you guys kind of got the gist. I'll leave a link, discount code in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.